start. One is a very successful technologist in Indonesia, and he was here already. Mr. Nusa. Hello. How are you?
Hello, Bu Ayla. I'm very good. I'm here.
You are busy. Yeah, I think you are the most busiest person now.
No, not really. No, yeah. Well, yes. Well, yes
And
and no.
we have another guest coming, which is Mr. Paulius. It's related to what I teach about 3 weeks now. Yes, Alice?
Yes, yes.
So maybe you can, okay, let me explain about the company and a little bit about me. So I actually started a company called Ayla Associate roughly about 2007 because I used to work for like, I do intern with a company in Malaysia, England. So I do intern. And I started my company. It's called Ayla Associate about 15, no.
Yeah. Realestate Leadingchange.
So then in 2017, because I wanted to help the street vendor to buy a property, I decided to make a education platform for real estate. It's called Global Property Bank and Technology Center. Move, Amanda. So this is a little bit about me. I think everybody already know. Move again. So this is about real estate. Why property? Why us? What benefit? And why property? Because it's a shelter. It absorbs jobs. It plays a very important role. Also, it could be snowball effect. Now, many conglomeration, they probably start off as other businesses, but at the end, normally they invested in real estate. So my family is actually a very old player of real estate in Indonesia. We actually built the first high-rise building, like office space. And we also built the first apartment. So it started by my father-in-law actually. And my husband took over. But I decided to do my own because I like consulting, I like teaching, I like doing like helping people to achieve what the maximum is. So that's why I make consultant, because consultant is actually not, we are not agent, we are different from agent. Agent is actually selling property. We are not. We probably will advise you, do not buy the property or do not buy these things. We advise the right, because we govern by risk compliance from the United Kingdom. So past 3 weeks, I decided to go to Africa to teach, because I think there's so many things that we can do in Africa on infrastructure, on building, actually everywhere, but you know, even Africa is the most. And for me, it's like opening a new market in Corona time, diversifying my market. And so maybe we can start with the, okay, so I was teaching about the basic level of associate certification in real estate. First is introduction. Second is the type of property. The third is business related to property. The fourth is the basic selling, how to find the property buyers and sell property. And the sixth is closing, selling, and maintenance. Today I give a little bit bonus, which is the most important thing in real estate, is if you cannot add value in your real estate, then your real estate could be a silent killer. Because what happened now during pandemic time actually teach a lot of things for me, that real estate, if you have liability and you have no income, it's like you need to pay liability, but you have no income. So basically, during a lot of conversation with you know, a lot of experts of real estate, we are actually trying to find how we can overcome this situation. And this is the time where leadership is needed. That's why I decided to start a conference that started called World Leadership Conference, because the strategic level, it cannot be done in Indonesia or in Africa or at one particular place. This pandemic is attacking all kinds of business and all kinds of life. So real estate is actually in the pipeline of all business. You know, even during pandemic, you still need real estate. You even need it more. You need to have nicer house during the pandemic, right? But what happened with the malls? What happened with the clinics? People will reopen, but will the lifestyle is the same? Because if we can meet people with video, I don't think that's necessary for us to just go travel to a place. This actually opening big market of what we call gig economy. So, but we need to collaborate. That's the key. And actually, a lot of opportunity, you know, if you read that in all books of leadership or management, chaos, crisis is opportunity. So how we as business people, decision maker, actually overcome this? I am myself, I'm trying to find the answer, especially for real estate. Well, I get very lucky because I have a lot of network, and probably Pak Nusa is one of the person that I often call in the middle of the night to ask, you know. So that is the best thing that you have in pandemic time, if you have people you can trust, gated, trusted people who can give you insight and very good information about things. So this is what I've been doing for the past 2 months now. We're reaching about 40,000 people. So a lot of strategic coming from the event itself, contemplating all inputs. And don't forget, as a real estate player, we need all this input, because real estate, you need to know the business, you need to know the cash flow, you need to know what's happened around you, you need to understand what's going on, you need to be mindful, you know. Then you can perform a new strategy. So after 3 weeks, we learn about introduction of real estate, types of property business, business related to property, basic selling, and how to find the property. Now, for real estate investor, this is actually the best time to buy. If you miss this boat, maybe there's no other boat. But the problem is how to find the cash. Because now, I don't think bank will give you loan if you say to them, I'm buying a cash real estate. You know, bank has been around for like almost I don't know, maybe 1,000 years, 400 years, the Rothschild family started. So they are been around. So they are not stupid. They understand what they're doing, you know. So this is where it becomes challenging and also interesting. Because if you can manage this challenge, it means you are strong. You are successful if you can go around in like 10 years of cycle of crisis. You know, when I started real estate, I was very lucky. My husband mentored me, and it was at the very good time. So he said to me, watch out because you never been into the bottom line. I've been there on a 1998 crisis, you know. So this probably one of the toughest crises, and I'm still learning. So real estate is like the whole life of learning. But if you masterize it, then it's probably one of the biggest wealth creator in the world. Don't forget, real estate got, maybe Alice can explain to me about this. What does real estate can give to you? Alice?
Dr. Ayla, I'm on the stairs. I'm going up to the office. Let me get to the office and then I open.
Okay. How about the other student? Is Wanja here? No? Okay. So real estate is very interesting because in the game of real estate, you actually have maybe vertical and horizontal. What is vertical? Vertical is like how many stages of property you can build on top and also below. What is the intrinsic value of your estate below? Right? Not many people can address this, you know. And money is printed, but these resources, you cannot go and ask people to print gold, for example. That's also real estate. The knowledge of land and the intrinsic value of your land, that's also real estate. So you need to know all this basic strategy and understanding of your customer journey to be able to strive this. Now, I have a guest. Hi, Pak Nusa.
Yes, Miss Ayla, I'm here. Very good.
How are you?
I'm all good, bro. I'm all good. Thank you.
So, Pak Nusa, maybe you can explain a little bit about your business that probably related to real estate, you know, how it's actually related to my number 5 here, how to find property buyers and sell property, but maybe you can give insightful information about your business, how long you are in the business, and little bit about you, Pak.
Okay. Well, we've been in the data set business and IT in general for, well, more than 20 years, actually. And so we know what kind of businesses the digital sector could really provide leverage into. Like in this case, you're in property, then of course there's, I mean, like a lot of things are related with the IT sector. Like even now, they already have a real estate a rate, yeah, for data centers. This is data centers are alternatives to the property business. So we are actually being fast forwarded to a digital world, digital economy, yeah, especially with this COVID. Yeah, that's why we really need to react and find new ways of utilizing our buildings. We too have a group of schools which we are rethinking on how to utilize the buildings, because students are no longer going to school. They have distant learning, and the school will probably be just like social clubs where they gather from time to time, yeah, for certain activities. So this is how IT can really accommodate or converge with the property sector. See, this is the big difference, especially for non-infrastructural IT sector, like digital platforms. Yeah, you know, startups, right? Right? They have no assets, nothing. Like Grab, if you have Grab there, right? They well, they don't. Well, what's this? They can rent their office. They can actually run servers, right? But yet they really accumulate all these commission from the drivers, and really gain a big value from their activities, yeah, in valuation, as you know. So when they started, they are actually quite intimidated for not having anything. Yeah, they only have a platform. Can you imagine that? No bank would fund them to start. Only a lucky few. What's this? Get the break of investment. So you can imagine all these promising digital startups not having access to capital due to not having any intrinsic, tangible assets, right? No collateral, no nothing, yeah? But with a very potential, revenue ahead, yeah? Prospect. On the other hand, of course, you have the gigantic property owners, yeah, groups, at this point owning, vast assets, but well, relatively very small revenue. So you can imagine if you converge you can converge the two, right? In the way that this startup with very high future earning, with this property company not having earning but enough potential for leverage, right? A combined income would really make a perfect blend. Yeah, they can mutually support one another. So, like for the infrastructure, like in our case, well, the beautiful thing about a co-location data center, I mean, there's so many different kinds of data center depending on the market, right? Enterprise, for big companies, for small, or startup, etc. But data centers for the little guys, for the small guys, they actually bring market to the property sector, because like a single small client of ours renting only one server rack has at least 50 square meter of office, and they need to be near their primary servers, so they can attend to their servers if something goes wrong, right? Of course, they can put like mirror servers anywhere else, Amazon or any other data centers, but they want their primary servers either in their own office or the nearest data center, right? So this is where the two sector collides and support one another. If you put a data center, a co-location data center, in a building, say an office building, yeah, the rule of thumb was I could share with you this, yeah? Not many people know this. At least 1 square meter of data center would generate a demand for 50 square meter of office space. It's rational, right? It's logical. You would want to be near your server, right? So because that is actually one of the one of the nightmares in a digital company. When your server is down, it's either you have to depend on your managed service, or you can just go down and fix yourself, which is more dependable, right? So this is one actually unknown reality by a lot of people. Yeah, the data center industry do not care about the property sector, but the property sector they do not know this fact. So this is actually something nobody. We know this because we have so many data centers, and one of them, the first one actually, occupies a standard office building, which is actually unsuitable for a data center, because an office building only has a load of 250 kg, while a real data center needs 1 ton, right? Especially you call it the high density data centers, right? Where you have 10,000 watts for every rack. Normal data centers, especially in Asia, usually only has 2,000 to 3,000 watts. But the new data centers, more than 10,000 watts, heavier machines, more dense. Yeah. So especially if you have a high density data center for co-location. So you can imagine 1 square meter of your data center would really generate maybe like 500 or 1,000 square meter of office, which is actually amazing, right? It's so this is the only thing that is actually blocking this conversion is the sectoral ego, right? You only care about yourself, you don't care about others. That's why I keep on saying, look, what's this? Let's team up, so you can support our business, we can support yours, right? And for local economy, the most important thing is, if you have to make sure that the local businesses prosper, because they are actually your captive market, they're your permanent market, right? They just like family.
I agree with that, Pa. I agree with that. So that's why I mean woman empowerment, because I realized that after I do my PhD degree, I motivate the factors of people buying real estate is actually woman. Yeah, woman decide the school of the children. So school is number 1. Before, I don't know for now.
Well, that's it. You're right. I expect, but there's a lot of blessing in this COVID actually, if you look at it the right way, right? This is you get more bonding with your family, right? You have more time to shape up the character of your children, without actually missing anything in business. If you know technology, right? If you take advantage of technology, and so there's a lot of blessing. I mean, this is the time for ruralization. What's this? This is the time where we need to spread out a little, produce food security, etc. So many things are actually behind all this problem. Yeah.
So Pak Nusa, I wanted to know like how you can like this business of data center actually add value. Like you said, like you actually can like add like 50 times, is it?
Exactly, it's perfect value. If you say
on your rental, yes, because real estate you have two ways to make money. The first money is from rental. The second is from capital gain, right?
Yes. Right.
So normally, if the rental is good, then capital gain is also good.
Right.
It could be also that the rental is not good, but capital gain is high, like a top class area in Jakarta. For example, in Sudirman, Sudirman capital gain is probably big, but it's like Manhattan, New York City. New York City, the rental is very, very high, but you know, the capital gain probably not. You know,
Right.
there's like, so
Trade-off. There's a
when you're
trade-off.
saying to me that, okay, you could like add value to the rental part, right? So automatically because there is a system to value real estate, you know. One of it is like based on your income base. You know, they always ask you, right, what's your EBITDA?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Yep.
if
Yes,
your
of course.
EBITDA is earning before tax, if your EBITDA is high, then okay, let's talk. But if your EBITDA is low, then okay, we consider again. You know what I mean? But
Yeah, I know.
but
That's
if you're saying that you can add value to the estate of like 50 times of the rental, you know, like, but how you define a perfect strategy of real estate, for example. You know, I like to know, and this is what I do for a living. I'm like consulting.
exactly. That's why you're right. Of course, there's a trade-off between what's this property gain and earning before interest and tax, right? So, but in this case, by placing a co-location data center in your building, it will increase your occupancy rate, right? It will increase your revenue from your rental. Like, so if you have a mixed use super block, say, right? You're gonna have there your mall, you're gonna have there your office, you're gonna have there your apartment building, right? Right? That's
Yes.
a super block. Yeah. At this time, all these super blocks are suffering. They're not selling, right? The malls are empty, the offices are empty, especially with this COVID. More and more office space will be let go, right? Let away. So by putting us a data center there, then you will generate a new demand for office space, right? Where they really gonna need the space. They cannot avoid having space there because they need to be near their servers 24 hours a day, actually, right? And that a rule of thumb, like I said, every square meter would generate about 50 to 100 square meter of office space demand. So in this case, your slow renting building will gain this rental rapidly, right? By catching this IT segment, right? So that's how a data center becomes a sugar in all this equation. Yeah, and of course the office would probably require the people working at the office would probably require a place to stay. Then your apartment will be affected, and if you have apartments there, you're gonna need commercial activity, right? So this is a data center could be a stimuli to demand, and of course, if you have a good renting building complex, the value would increase, right? So actually, you get quite a lot, yeah, in this, yeah, in this case, and the only thing that it is better than an anchor tenant. Like if you have a super block, you need to invite a supermarket to be your anchor tenant, and this is something similar, but covers a whole lot of things. A supermarket does not automatically bring office demand, right? But this brings in a multiple spectrum of demands. Yeah, this data. Of course, it's not easy to set up a data center and to find an investor for a data center, because data centers are capital incentive investments, right? Only 20% is in the form of land and building. The 80% is in the form of hardware and technology, which has no liquidation value. In such a way, no bank actually finance data centers. They cannot confiscate and liquidate your data center. Has no value. Just like it's just like your computer, right? The casing has no value. The motherboard, the chips, that's where the value is, right? But in what's this But if you sell your computer for scrap, they will weigh it. It has no value, unlike property, land, and building, right? So that's the entry barrier into this industry. That's why there's not so many players. Even in Indonesia, we have less than 25 players in Indonesia, right? And most of them use equity, or big players with equity, because no bank. Well, if you want to borrow from a bank, you will have to come up with other security besides the project you're building, because it has no liquidation value, right? So that's the entry barrier to data center. So what this if you can bring in a data center group into your building, it will be a big bonus, especially if they're doing a co-location data center for the little guys, because it would be useless for you if you have a data center only catering for one entity, one company, like say a bank. That is not going to bring anything. The data center will, of course, will generate income, but it will not bring additional benefit or customers or tenants to the other facility, establishment, the hotel, the office, etc., etc. So, like that's why I said with data centers, yeah. It is a trend now. They have a real estate investment trust, and it becomes a commodity. Yeah, it's a very rare establishment, data centers. Yeah, and they are trading in ownership. Yeah, in this case, and so and another thing, not every place can be a data center, right? First thing, you have to have a lot of carriers. What's this? Broadband carriers, fiber optics near your establishment, right? You have to have that, and you have to have enough power, because 1,000 square meter of data center, 1,000 square meter requires 2 megawatts. So you can imagine, right? Your whole complex may only need, like your apartment building, Bu Ayla, yeah, Miss Ayla. I bet that's what 2 or 3 megawatts, I would say, right? So you can imagine, if we put just a 1,000 square meter data center there, you will have to add in an extra 2 megawatts. That's quite a lot, right? But it will fill up your building. It will fill up your office block. So there are two kinds of how we can converge the property sector and the IT sector. One through a swap sharing of scheme with startups, right? And another one by bringing in a data center, a co-location data center into your complex. So that's the kind of new theme, like a new idea, innovative idea, because other ways would be like, okay, let's convert our building into a self-storage, or maybe some other form, yeah, because of slow demand. But this is the one of the most unthinkable scheme, yeah, technique or strategy. It's like that, Ayla. You have to unmute your mic.
Thank you, Pak Nusa.
Yep.
That's amazing, insightful information. Another thing I want to ask you: are you like looking for real estate deal at the moment?
Well, yes, of course. I mean, like we in Indonesia, we need to set up simultaneously actually a data center in major cities, yeah, especially with the aggressive move of the multinational companies like Google, Amazon, Microsoft. So just for to have an idea on how severe things are, to date, yeah, until now, the total investment of data centers, including planned expansion, is only $850 million, right?
I'm sorry, Pak, 850 million.
Yes, US dollar to date, including those existing, and those are in plan. Yeah, only 850. A single company like Amazon is investing $2.5 billion in Indonesia. Not mentioning Microsoft, about 1.5 or 2 billion. Alibaba, 1.5 or 2 billion. Yeah. What's this? Google. What's this? Google. Yeah. So all in all, aggregately, the amount of confirmed investment in data center to Indonesia is more than 10 billion US dollar. It's in the papers. And this will be operational 2022 and 2023. So can you imagine? Yeah, that's a huge difference between local investment and incoming foreign investments. Almost 15-fold. Yeah, 15, 20. Yeah, how much is that? Yes, on 20 folds. 20 folds of international cloud coming in. We, as a local player, still have advantages because we are catering for local users. They don't need international cloud. They only need local clouds, right? Local backups. It's like that. International data centers are required by international digital platforms, having users all over the world, like Facebook, Google. They need to have data centers all over the world. So their users can reach their data, their information without having to travel around the world to far distance data centers. So that is the race right now we have here in Indonesia. And I think it is the same thing everywhere in Africa, in most developing countries. Yeah, it's about the same. Yeah, so you really have to speed up your development for data centers before you do not have any market to go in. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't understand. Sorry, Pak.
Well, you have to speed up the development of your local data centers, right? Because if you do not do this, the big players will be present, and they will come in big capacity, yeah, and they will absorb all the local market, and they have, of course, other advantages. Their advantages is they have data centers all over the world. They can say if you're setting up a platform that's going to go international, you will need international cloud, right? It's understandable, right? You're going to need to put your data all over the world for your users to access, right? But if your user is local, right, for us temporarily, then the most important thing would be a local cloud. That is their disadvantage at this point. They cannot afford to make too many data centers, yeah, occupying their time. They just have time to set up one very big data center that will form a network of international data centers. Yeah? So that's why whether you're in Malaysia, whether you're in the Philippines, whether you're in Africa, Indonesia, before all these big players own a data center, have a data center in your country, you have to quickly set up your own. So you can tell them, hey, you don't need to set up a data center. You can use ours. Why don't you rent from us? Can you imagine? Why would Google, what's this, Mr. Jansen? Where are you? Are you in Malaysia?
Mr. Jansen?
Yes,
we are in Indonesia, actually.
Oh, you're in Indonesia. I thought you were Malaysian. Okay,
Yeah.
So you're in Indonesia. So okay, say you're like Indonesia. Say Indonesia. Okay. Does Google need to have? Does Google need to earn any money like by having a data center in Indonesia? No, they don't. They're not going to rent their data centers. They need to have their data centers here. So you and I, right, can access our information or local information locally without using international bandwidth, going all the way to Singapore to their main data center, etc. Right? Of course, by having their data center here will help the country. We won't be spending a lot on international bandwidth. But the downside of it is like you're going to lose your opportunity, yeah, in setting up a data center and renting out to them. If there is available data center to be rented, they would rather rent than invest. Less risk, no risk. Right? If you need to invest, then you have to put up investment. Then you're going to be prone to risk, right? To threats, to instability, to revolt, so many things. But if you're renting your flat,
Yeah, I learned, Pak.
right? It's like that. So this is the misperception our government is having. They are only spearheading on foreign investment. Their foreign investment is killing local investment. So instead of Bu Ayla setting up a big data center to be offered to Google or to Facebook for rental, right? No, they themselves are now investing, right? So you lost that opportunity of renting your data center to Google because Google set up their own. So it's like that. So the only thing
but Indonesia is a big market, yeah, itself, and you know, a lot of startup. We actually have like, we as a country in Southeast Asia, even like we kind of like one of the fastest growing country in probably the world now, because you know the infrastructures, but we also have a lot of startup, you know. I mean, we probably have like the top 5 unicorn startup in the world, you know, like
okay, let's start it like this. What's this? Did you know that Indonesia only has an IT load data center of only 50 megawatts?
I'm sorry, Pak, 50
megawatts. The total data center in Indonesia only 50 megawatts. Did you know that Singapore has 350 megawatts of data center? And did you know that 80% of their tenants are Indonesians?
I'm sorry.
So it's like this. There are 6 times more data center in Singapore than in Indonesia. We only have 50 megawatts. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. Singapore has 350 megawatts. Right. Korea has 600. Japan has 800. And so you can imagine, and that 350 megawatt data center in Singapore is actually occupied by Indonesian startups. Can you imagine that? Right? It's so silly, actually. It's so very silly. Just like, okay, you and I, we are using Zoom right now. Where do you think we're connecting? Not in Indonesia. We're connecting overseas, right? We're connecting through the data centers, right? We're spending international bandwidth as we speak right now. And did you know that Indonesia spends $15 billion a year just because of this? And 80% of that is being spent to Singapore, the bandwidth. So they're really making a lot of money from us, right? Not only from the data center, but also from the bandwidth we were purchasing from them. So it's a big loss actually for Indonesia. Not mentioning data security, data sovereignty, so many things. Not mentioning the importance of information of data for artificial intelligence. What good is your artificial intelligence platform if you don't have any information to work on? So you can imagine this is a very, very big threat to the future generation of Indonesians. The future generation of Indonesians will have to compete with somebody holding a calculator while they are not even holding a pencil. So that's how bad it is. That's how bad it is actually. It's very bad, right? So our future generation don't stand a chance at all because they will be advised manually, while all these developed countries they will be advised by artificial intelligence decision-making platforms. So it's a very dangerous thing actually. And Indonesia, by placing 80% of our information overseas, is very prone, right?
I'm sorry, Pak, very prone. Maksudnya?
Well, for security breach, hacking, tampering. You can imagine. Can you imagine placing your computer, your personal computer, without any password, in a neighbor's house. Can you imagine that? Right? Wouldn't that be silly? Wouldn't that be quite silly, don't you think? Right? Or you say, okay, this is my hard disk. I want to. Could you hold it for me? Nobody would want to do that.
Actually,
right?
you know, I'm actually quite scared because, you know, I was thinking the other day, how come Facebook know everything about me? Like Facebook actually knows I'm 16 years old.
Yes, they know everything about you, Bu. I mean, don't you find it amazing? Like you're using WhatsApp and that there is not a single advertisement in WhatsApp. So how do you think they make their revenue? Right? By selling patterns, by selling information, by selling behavior, right? These things are very valuable for artificial intelligence. What's this? Algorithms. Don't you think?
Okay. Interesting. We have another guest today joining us.
Okay, go ahead.
Pak Nusa, we have another guest. I don't know if Paulius is already here.
That's my microphone.
Mr. Paulius, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hello.
Hi.
I cannot see you.
Can you see me?
No.
Wait.
Thank you.
One second.
Thank you, Paulius, for joining us. We actually have very interesting conversation about adding value in real estate, you know. And I actually wanted to invite you because another value that we have to, I think, as real estate investor, consultant is using marketing, you know, because I know that and I'm aware that at the moment the selling is probably a little bit impossible, yeah, but maybe with proper, what do you think about the whole situation, specific in real estate?
So
I cannot see you, Mr. Paulius.
You cannot see me?
No.
Okay, let me reconnect. Wait.
No, we can see you very well, Mr. Paul. I think I can see him.
Oh, okay. Wait.
Yeah.
Udah ketemu. I like to see people when I talk to them.
Can you see me now?
Yes, I can see you. How are you, Mr.
Okay,
Paulius? Where are you
I'm good.
now?
I'm in Dubai, as usual.
Okay. All
Yes.
right. So I wanted to understand a little bit about actually PR because, you know, I know that, well, just explain a little bit about you and what do you do actually, you know, so people can understand how you know, importance brand or PR value into this current market right now, you know, specific in real estate probably, you know, because yeah,
okay.
maybe you.
So yeah, thanks for inviting me, Ayla. I actually was in a previous interview that you had, and I was listening about the data centers. And actually, yeah, it's actually very funny that Indonesians are using data centers in Singapore while like they're Indonesians, so they're not using like Indonesian ones. So it's like it is like that. So basically about the PR. So I'm in public relations business, let's say, for the last at least like 4 years. And the main thing in public relations is that basically creating a perception about your company's image, how other people see it. And in a short way to say, there are two levels. When you are small and you want to just stand out, and when you are very big and you want to somehow manage your investor relations. So for example, when it comes to real estate, I'll just give an example. Let's say there's an asset management company, okay, which has investors' capital and, for example, they invest into real estate. And for example, now there's COVID-19 and everybody's very panicking and prices are falling down and investors are also panicking. So for example, how do you manage a situation when like your investors are like really pushing you to do things like sell stock, or they want to take money back and they're just like giving you very like headaches and everything? So how do you manage that? So one way to manage it, of course, is well, in every big company there is like investor relations department, but investor relations, they collaborate also with public relations, because public relations basically about the public image, how everything is happening and how other people see it, especially including the investor relations. And actually bigger companies, they also do tricks and certain manipulations how to influence investors, you know, from like third party perspective view. So for example, let's say if your company is, let's say, internally dying for whatever reasons, like for example, COVID-19. And so for instance, like in real estate market, so how do you make sure that your investors like stay calm and let's say not take money from you and go to your competitors? So you can put your positioning, your brand positioning, as still keep your brand position strong through media. So you publish, let's say, articles, and you put yourself very strong in a very strong context, and also you can manipulate the text and you can also manipulate the context. For example, you can talk about things which are not true, but these things from legal perspective will not bring you any problems. So for example, when you're in a PR business, you need to make the client look as good as possible. And some clients are very scared to go like very far, because they're saying like,
What do you mean? What do you mean? Some client don't want to go very far.
You like clients say like, maybe we're not ready for this because they think that it's like only big companies can do it, like, you know, Facebook and Google, you know, like make big announcements and things like that, because those big announcements create like a lot of buzz around it, and it kind of creates like a very strong core around these announcements. So
a lot of people also like to go under the radar, Mr. Paulius.
Yes. So anyways, but
maybe they create their own like whatever, like they create their own not world, but you know, because a lot of people are like you know, if you are actually, you have a lot of money, I don't think many people will want to know how much money you have in your bank account if you really have a lot of money. But I think for the people who probably on the start, or you know, I don't know. I wanted to ask your opinion actually. How does, because we are talking here just now about data center, in a business incubator, technology. How can PR actually help this like, for example, like small, medium enterprise? Do you have a small, medium enterprise client?
Okay, so just I'll finish one sentence fast about the previous thing. So what I meant about all the announcements and everything is just about managing the public relations, or sorry, investor relations, how they see the company. So they would see that the company is strong. If they see that the company is putting themselves publicly strong, then they will keep the money within the company. Of course, you can manage like investor relations like privately, you know, but if you're like, let's say, public company, very big company, and for example, like my company deals with some public companies. So the way how we manage their investor relations is that you can manipulate the public and you can do many things. So this is like where the PR comes in from the big perspective. And from the SME perspective, yes, SMEs working with data centers and things like that, yes. Any company that wants to, so basically my like strategy, okay, for most of the clients is literally like standing out. But the standing out does not mean like you do a paid ad and that's it. Like you can put like $1,000 on Facebook ad that is still not going to stand you out. The standing out is more like connecting your company with some major thing was happening in the planet, and then because the reason of this thing is so major, and when you connect your company to this thing, then your company comes together with this big thing, and then people see your company much more than your competitors, for example. Okay, and what I'm talking about, like major thing, for example, even take an example as data center. Okay, so for example, like if there's something like big news happening, like let's say Singapore has a lot of Indonesian startups using the data centers, and like while Indonesia is not having those data centers as much, let's say there is some kind of hype around this topic and somebody's talking about it. So you jump to this topic with your data center company, and you push a lot of news saying that, for example, like our company is Indonesian based, we are the biggest, we're going to conquer the Singapore and things like that. So you jump into the topic, make the topic even bigger, and then kind of like get the attention from the original topic, get attention to your company.
Absolutely, you're right. Absolutely.
Yeah. So basically steal the attention, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
That is smart PR. I mean, saying things that keeps you in a good legal position, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
bring in what's in hype into your property. Like I said, oh look, right now we're getting a lot of startups in our buildings, etc. When actually you're working with them, you're lending them a number of your units so they can lever their company and really start their operation. But that will bring in the perception that your building is doing well, and it will be doing well actually, right?
Yeah.
It's like that. So
Exactly.
Mr. Paul, I want to ask you, like, do you think that we need, as a company, we need even more PR now? Because, you know, nobody really like make money now. Like, you know, for me, actually, I'm suffering of like because my rental is actually more to like a resort rental, for example, and no tourism now. I don't know until when border open, you know, like,
Yeah.
how do you, in the real estate perspective, you know, do we even like, you know, do we, you know, because now there is no offline business now. We are forced to go online, you know?
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, like, probably like for me, this is like the first time actually I go on live on Facebook. I'm actually explaining and educate my people about real estate investing, you know? This is the first time for me to do that, because I think if I don't stand up in this particular pandemic time, then as a consulting, you know, I mean, well, what do you think?
Okay. So I think this PR thing is like, it goes very to the basic, to the core. So actually I'm reading one book now, and it's a very general book. I just read it because sometimes you forget very simple things. So you get back and then you remember. So actually, for example, what I say to clients is that, and even what the book says, like I just read the chapter last night, and it was an interview with the founder of PayPal. And then the founder, the guy who founded PayPal, not the Elon Musk, but his friend. And then after that, he founded LinkedIn. So he was talking about his LinkedIn, how he founded and everything. And then one thing what he mentioned is that, or what was it, this one? Anyways, so one thing what he mentioned was that the startup or a company or any business, they have to kind of market themselves. Okay, so it's a must thing, otherwise it's impossible. For example, in the real estate, even though everything is down, let's say your competition is down also. Okay, so you're kind of going down with the competition. Even if you do a little push, a little bit up, you can still a little bit stand out. But now there's a very big, let's say, difference between marketing and PR. I think, for example, many companies don't really understand what marketing like is. When they say marketing, 99%.
What is the difference?
So when you say marketing to a company, the company think like, okay, so social media, paid, post, maybe SEO, and that's it. Like, you know, nothing really advanced.
What is SEO, Mr. Paul? I don't really understand SEO.
Search engine optimization, like just keywords, basically, you know. But like these things, like they're very, very basic. So, and then, for example, when I say PR, I'm thinking like PR should be like, you should not start like with even social media, but just start like with articles. Like articles are very powerful. So anyways, so for example, if you're a local business in Jakarta, okay, and you are going down, let's say you have no rent whatsoever, you're going down, and your competitors also going down. So what do? Well, you, at least, even if you go down, you cannot show that you go down. You just have to show that you're not going down. And the only way how you show you're not going down is through media, basically. You go to Jakarta Post or whatever magazine, media, newspaper there is locally, and just publish that you're not going down, you're staying strong, and you may be giving discount to the ones that are going down, you're helping the ones who are going down, so you look strong against the ones who are going down. And then people, for example, even maybe not now, let's say after the crisis finished, the people where they will still come back, but to whom they will come back? They will come back probably to the ones which really fight, you know, and we're not going down as others were going down. So you have to look a bit further also.
Interesting. Do you ever really like raise capital? Like, you know, like, have you successfully, you know, because I believe that when you do something, there has to be like a result, you know, like, you know, there has to be measurement, you know, on your branding or on your success rate, you know, like, do you think PR are powerful to raise capital and or to do sales? Which one?
Both. So in terms of raising capital, so in 2017, 2018, my company had like 200 clients, like startups, particularly from the blockchain. And basically we helped raise capital. So we raised like about 500 million for the all clients together.
500 million US dollar.
Yes.
How long?
In like 1 year, but it's like for the all of them together. Okay. So maybe one raised like 20, another raised 15, 10, 30, 50, you know, different. So, but so the PR comes here, 100% market manipulation at maximum level, including the stock and everything, complete manipulation, you know? So it's actually very easy. What clients do, they come and they say like this, okay, we want to have article in like Forbes, we want to have article in Entrepreneur, we want to have article in all top medias, and we want that all top medias will write about us that we are the best ROI company, we are the best company, we bring the best product and stuff like that. When you publish 100 articles like this, everybody's going to invest into, you know? So people just invest big time. But the thing is that the cost to actually
yeah. But this, you know, brand, it cannot be like when they purchase, right? It has to be a continuity of like, you know, stability, right?
Yes. So actually, okay, so first of all, when the client comes and they say like, we want the best brand, we want investors to come in and invest as much as possible, then we do that. It's up to them if they keep the promise or not, literally up to them. We're not like their product management or something company, but we just build their thing to look as best as possible, you know? And there were many cases in 2018 when stock was manipulated very hugely. And it was very funny how it worked. Yeah.
How it's funny?
You put some articles and then the clients put the logos on their website. They also announce in their community and they distribute this newsletter and talk to investors directly saying that, okay, look, we have been recognized by this and this magazine. And for example, when it comes to the content is even very strategically put. It's not just like you're in a magazine writing whatever, you know, you're the best. But the content actually says that, for example, like if you invest in this company, it's very high chance you're going to get ROI, you know? And the content is also like very manipulated, you know? So when you put the very, very strategic content and when you put the strategic magazine positioning and everything, and then you send to these targeted investors, it's very high chance they will believe it, you know, very high chance to believe it. But what happened in the market is that basically this whole PR thing in terms of manipulation started like from 2016. Then it was 2017 and 18. During these 2 years, it was huge hype. Then 2019, investors already understand that this PR thing is like very, very scammy thing and they're losing money and companies are really manipulating them. So 2019, the hype and the trust in investing into startups and everything completely dropped. Especially, for example, when a company comes and shows like, okay, we are in the media, sophisticated investor will probably understand that something is not right until they do some due diligence, you know? But even though you are a sophisticated investor, you can still go over him if you're like applying certain things. So for example, like, yes, of course, you can have, let's say, good media things, but maybe it's not going to be enough right now in 2020. You need something more. So you need to have like very, very good presentation about yourself. And you need to have very good history. And this history you build not in months or 2 months, but you build it like over a year. So for example, if you know that, for example, your company needs money and you need to go like public or into invest, you need investors, like let's say in 2021. So it is very important to start building the history of your, let's say, archives of online articles, like even now. So there's like some history. So when you go to investor and say like, okay, I need the money, investor gonna check your company, and then they're gonna see like, when did you start like hustling? Like when, how old are you? So if they see that the articles are coming like from 2 years back, 1 year back, then they're like, okay, like these people, like they're there, like they're trying to do something. They're like, it's been time, like it's okay. But if you go to investor and you just start like immediately doing some articles, and investors see that, okay, like your online presence is like 1 month or 1 week, then they're like, okay, like they're just new, they don't know what they're doing, just trying to push, you know. So you need to have a history.
Okay, interesting. Thank you, Mr. Paulius.
Yeah.
Maybe we have a question and a question and answer on the house. If anyone want to ask question to my guests today, it's very interesting conversation actually, even for me, you know, because I'm in real estate for 15 years. You know, I'm actually learning today that we can add value from data center. We can add value also from like creating startups. But we need to, I believe that in the business, we need to help our client making cash flow, especially real estate. Then we can make cash flow for us, you know. Any question, any sharing?
I think mine.
Yes, Madam
Yes,
Alice?
Paul? I was saying today we have, it's another lesson we are learning. Dr. Ayla, thank you so much for bringing those great men there to teach us something we have learned today. Lebanon, like learning about when you say Indonesia, you have a problem. You are feeling so insecure with technology. I don't know what Africa will say, because I don't think we have such on data. We don't have any data so much in data collection center anywhere. So I think that's an opportunity there, Dr. Ayla, to think about Africa and how we can develop something like that. But from Power, you have taught us something very good today. That you know, as Paras was talking, I was thinking about myself. When we went under from March, we closed all our schools, we closed everything, and we went home and sat because the government closed everything. And every day I have an advertisement which runs in one of our local TV stations. And every day, even last week, we were thinking, do we stop learning this advertisement? Because it's a useless advertisement. What is it telling people? It's telling people we are there, and we are not there. But today we have learned from Paras. Thank you so much for that insight, because moving forward, I feel like I want to go and pay some more space in other TV stations so that I can remain afloat, even though I went under. I should remain, you have taught us today that we should remain afloat, we should remain visible, so that when the pandemic is over and people start dusting their offices, ours will not be to dust, but people will be looking at the people, the companies they have been seeing, maybe online, on TV. I think those are the companies don't go too fast. So today we have learned that lesson, and thank you very much, Paulius and Nova.
Yeah, I think I can actually add two things, okay? Because Ayla, you mentioned about something about sales, like how does PR impact sales?
Yeah. I forget, sorry. I will come back with you on that. I wanted to know the impact, because, you know, when you say, okay, you're doing PR, then what's the sales impact? Because I'm very critical, you know, because I'm consulting, I need to know if I advise somebody, okay, you're going to use this typical services, that, you know, there has to be like some kind of value on top of it, you know, like measurement.
Yes. So actually, PR is super powerful in sales. So I particularly specialize in B2B, okay? So B2B is basically like very, very big expertise in B2B me. So for example, if you're selling whatever product, anything to a company, the way how companies do due diligence and the way how customer do due diligence is totally different. Although there are some similarities, but it's like so. So companies evaluate other companies differently. So whatever you sell to another company is going to come like more from professional perspective, which like regular people will not understand. So for example, again, like, so for example, when a client hires a marketing agency or a PR agency, and then they're like, okay, now do your job, and then we expect clients to come. That's like never going to happen, because nowadays, even you do marketing in-house or you hire somebody, just by doing marketing, the client will never come. That's not going to happen unless you're maybe Google, you know. But like, let's say if you're smaller, like not known, it's just not going to happen. And how to get the client is that you have your own sales team and you push it, you know. But if you push it just like that, it's still missing something. So for example, when you connect, like everybody knows they have to connect marketing and sales, but they don't know maybe how it actually goes, because there's like many miscommunications about that. But for example, let's say if I'm selling a platform service, subscription or something to a company, I'm saying like this, hi, like, would you be interested in buying this subscription or like something like this? And they're like, okay, like, what is this like? Then you explain to them, and they're like, well, I don't know, like, why would like I buy from you? Like, I can get cheaper from this and that, you know. Then you go through like your recognition, okay, saying like why you are better than others. And this better than others is supposed to be mentioned in the media. So for example, let's say like you're selling okay, you're selling a laptop, a new laptop. You make a new laptop and you're selling a new laptop. The client says, okay, I have Windows, I have Apple. Why would I need your laptop? It's totally useless. Then you have, before you even approach the client, you have an article ready saying that your laptop is better than Apple, okay? But this article is like published on like very big media, and you have a lot, maybe 200, you know? So, and of course your laptop has to have some unique things. So then you just drop everything to the client saying like, okay, look, we have verified by European, by Asian, global media. We're like everywhere, you know, very big, and not big, doesn't matter, but very like trusted, okay? And then the client at least will try maybe your app, maybe your tablet, you know. So putting your advantages into these articles and then sending. So the people who are doing the sales, they need to send these articles. Not like the articles are going to attract the clients automatically. The people, when they sell to other companies, the company is going to ask questions, and to prove to the clients that you are legit supplier, you need to give them extra information. So this information comes from the media. And then there's a hack. There's a hack in the media. For example, like, let's say, how do you save cost, okay? And how do other people see from different cultures, how do they see your company? So for example, if you're coming from like an African company or an Asian company, Indonesian company, Philippine company, whatever, if you're going to Europe, for example, okay, how do European people or how do US people like measure whether you're like big time or not a big time, okay? So let's say there's a very big cultural difference, first of all, in the communications. And this actually also where you can apply cultural differences in the PR.
Different communication.
Yeah, this communication comes from cultures, how different cultures see other culture. So if you know how to manipulate that, then you're like basically very strong. So I'll give you an example, okay? For example, like let's say there's an event, like even when I met Ayla, we were in the event, okay, in Germany. And
Berlin, yeah, real estate investment.
You go to an event, something like Berlin, okay, and you see people coming from different. You don't know those people, you don't know. Then you start talking to them, you know, and when you talk to them, you evaluate people like whether they are big time or not big time. So, for example, if somebody comes to you like and say like, okay, like I'm from like, let's say Indonesia, and then you're like, what are you doing? And then you're like, yes, and this and that, and then let's say like I'm actually like in Indonesian TV, you know. And I'm like in this TV and in this TV, you know. So the European is going to perceive you as like huge, big time, like, you know, TV. But in the reality, that to buy a TV space in Indonesia is maybe 100 times cheaper than in Europe. So for example, if I'm a European company and I'm trying to sell to another client in Europe or to US, and I'm saying like, look, we're an international company. We're supplying to all Asia. And we are like all Asia television. And they're like, wow. And you can even show the example. But to buy an ad placement in Asia on the TV is much, much, much cheaper than to buy in Europe. So you manipulate them from the cheaper perspective, you know, but they still think of you like very big time, you know? So it's like this. And Can you hear me? Because I'm actually
You want to
losing.
share something? How do I share? Can you help me, please? How do I
No,
share?
no. I'm not sharing anything. Just last example. For example, Forbes magazine. Okay, Forbes magazine is Forbes Global, Forbes.com. There's Forbes India, Forbes Middle East, Forbes like whatever, like many Forbes. Each Forbes has its own price. The most expensive is Forbes Global, which is like very expensive. Okay, but let's say you want to get Forbes like cheaper. Okay, you want to hack the market, whatever. So you go to the most cheapest Forbes is in India. Okay, you go to in India and you just buy Forbes in India. You know, you go to Europe or US and say like, yes, I'm in the Forbes. You know, so they will think like, okay, you're in Forbes, but you're buying it cheap. So there are like many ways how you can do this, like, you know, vice versa. And when you know the price, when you know the market, when you know options, then you can manipulate big time, you know.
Wow, very,
Yeah.
very, you know, very interesting, insightful information today we have. Maybe we have somebody in the house that want to ask question. Mr. Paul, do you take like SME clients? Do you take SME client startups?
Usually we mainly work with big companies, but sometimes we work also with SME. SME companies, they have, because their team is very small and the founder is very persistent on what they see, what he sees or what she sees, and their own vision. Okay, so they maybe not necessarily be willing to do according like to some very risky strategy, which they would be like, okay, this is like too much for me. Even for example, when I approach some smaller companies and say like, okay, do you want to be like on Forbes or some other media? They say, no, we are too small for this. Like this, no, they're scared, you know. But in reality, what you're scared of, this is Forbes is actually nothing. Like even a homeless man can be on Forbes. It's like complete mean nothing, basically, you know. Everybody is on Forbes these days, you know. And like, even if you're small and starting these days, from the beginning.
Pak Nusa, listen to that. You should be on Forbes too. You are a big player.
Well, actually, Paul, you're absolutely right. You know what? Actually, our country needs good PR. We have poor PR.
Yes.
See? Yeah, this is a gigantic country not being able to sell itself.
Yeah, and
right?
like, yeah, the companies, like, they're actually scared to do it because they think they're not like legitimate to have this honor. They put themselves very down. They have this perception that they won't only be in the media if they reach the level of Facebook. But in reality, nobody's going to reach the level of Facebook. They're going to reach like something small. But if you actually have this media, you're going to reach above the small. It just doesn't make sense. So there's this very big.
I'm sorry, Mr. Paul. Slowly. I forget to ask you, where are you actually from? Yes, you are not. You are not from Dubai, yes?
Austria.
No, I'm in Finland. Finland, yes.
Oh, Finland. Yes. Okay. All right. So,
I think Paul, I need to connect with the Paul because he's really empowering us, and I feel if I known Paul earlier, Dr. Ayla, my school today would be a university. It's making you feel that you can be what you want to be. You don't have to look at how small you are. Thank you, Paul.
Yes,
from the
bigger picture, you can literally build yourself the way how you want to build. Of course, like it comes over time, you know. But let's say logically, within 3 to 6 months, you can build pretty good. You can build pretty good image of whatever you want to have.
Good.
So it's like,
do you consult, Mr. Paul? Do you consult? Do you do consultancy?
Yes.
Okay. So
you have client now
for us with Dr. Ayla. Yes. Me and Dr. Ayla. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
can I share a little a bit here with, especially with Paul here, which is we really need what's this good PR, especially in Indonesia or a lot of countries in this region. We're poor in selling. That's why Singapore can take all the advantages, being a trading hub, banking hub, yeah, because they're good in PR, right? When the producers are actually Indonesian, right? They're making huge business from Indonesia, but through good PR.
But because I live in Singapore for some time, Pak, you know, they're very strict as well. You know, in Singapore, for example, there's a lot, you know, Singapore is like UK. That's why I like to have my company in the UK, for example, because it's very legally are quite straight, you know, like, you know, if you actually, you know, because my company is actually real estate, so we do a lot of deal with the court and legal, you know. So in Indonesia, you can go on legal court for like 20 years. You could never resolve, right? So that is why if you see the investment, whether it's real estate, anything, it comes from Singapore, because legal is very clear there. You issue a paper, you go to court, you tell blah, 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 and after 2 weeks, you actually already get like a result.
Well, yes.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Let's say the result is you like it or you don't like it, but you know, there is a result. Yeah. So then you can, you know what I mean? This I think we have to like address, you know, probably in another session with our minister, because we really need this kind of legal things in Indonesia to make Indonesia big. But you know, Pak Nusa, everybody already know, even my friend in Africa. Last week we have infrastructure. You should talk next time on infrastructure, because it's very interesting. We have 3 hours, don't finish, nobody leave from infrastructure forum. This is real estate forum. You know, actually that you know, there is like, you know, people like actually, oh yeah, Indonesia is like fastest growing, but why? Nobody really like, you know, why? For me, if I see something, or I you know, if you know, if I see something, I always question why. You know, like, for example, like, you know, as a consulting, I'm in consulting already like almost 15 years plus, you know, my experience with a company like international company 2 years, so it's about like 17 years, you know. We make failure sometimes, and it's okay to be fail, you know. You just have to, okay, I am failed, this is my fault, and I'm standing here, like, you know, for a lot of reasons. And this is what I actually really fond of my woman empowerment, because a lot of people think I'm wasting my time. You know, like, what are you doing? You're doing woman empowerment. You sometimes want to do real estate, you know, because I think if I help incubation business, right? I help them, for example, giving them cheaper infrastructure, cheaper, you know, then, you know, they can rent, for example, rent the building for like, I don't know, very good price. Then my business survive, you know. And I, as a consulting, just as a consulting first. Now, actually now real estate consultant, I have a lot of clients, but I cannot say to my client, yes, I'm going to solve your problem, because, you know, like, a lot of problems. It implicate a lot of problems. And real estate, people think it's easy business. It is not. That's why the risk is very high. It's not very easy to enter. You know, you have to know the game, and you have to be in the game. You have to always be in the game. You can't be like, okay, I'm in the game today and tomorrow I quit. Right?
Ayla.
Yes.
I'll add one thing about the comment of Indonesian PR missing. So one of the biggest cities in the world which done very good job in advertising is Dubai. For example, if you check any advertisements online about Dubai, everywhere you see like Lamborghini and Rolls Royce and police driving Rolls Royce and Lamborghini, you know. But you know, in reality, you know, it's like not that many Lamborghinis, and actually police have only one Lamborghini. But the advertisement is totally different. So all the world knows that Dubai is actually very expensive and stuff like that. But actually Dubai is actually not expensive at all. It's like very normal. Like in many parts, like Finland is much more expensive than Dubai. Like food in Finland is much more expensive than Dubai. So the advertisement, the perception that they put to the world is like they make them just very big time. But the reality is not a big time. So they attract a lot of tourism. Now, for example, Indonesia scenario, okay? In Indonesia, the Bali is known as like the major place, like tourism for the world. So, for example, I told already this to Ayla before, but this is like one of my just like recent kind of like ideas. For example, now there's a COVID-19. Everybody's home and everybody wants to go out so much somewhere, you know? And as soon as the border lifts, people are gonna go. So for example, where they're gonna go?
Do you
They
think
probably
people
go-
will gonna go after the border open? Like, you know, people is just going to be like a wild horse traveling?
Yes, they will go. They will go, definitely. Of course, some people will not go, but many people will go because because first of all, many people don't even believe in COVID. Okay, many people.
What do you mean? Don't believe in COVID?
Well, I know some people who
Explain.
think like, well, they just say like, it's like okay,
Illusion.
so it's like they put this because there's election coming, okay, and whatever. I don't know about this politics and stuff like that, but I'm just saying like a lot of people saying like that many numbers are faked also, okay. People maybe die from like regular disease but not from COVID, but they count it as a COVID, okay. So even here in Dubai, for example, even though many things are locked down, of course many things are open now, but I know many people who just go out, do regular, they don't care. They say this is like complete, basically they don't believe it as strong as it is or whatever. So anyway, so there's very, very strong percentage that many people are gonna go out as soon as border opens. This is like 100%. So now where the people are gonna go? Now, for example, in Europe, the Spain opened, so all the people are gonna go to Europe. But everybody knows that, for example, Bali is a very big time place, and also Bali does not have corona cases. So, for example, I think like I see this like an opportunity. For example, like if Bali would advertise itself as the corona-free space, like corona-free haven, you know, and it's like the most sacred place on the planet Earth after the virus to go to Bali and relax, because everybody after being at home for like many months, they want to go to the beach and stuff like that. And Bali literally has the least cases. I checked like 3 people or something. I think, yeah. So like if Bali pushed this kind of advertisement, like everybody would go to Dubai and it would be like huge thing. Like I would see it like this way.
Yeah, if Bali come back, it means my business come back, Mr. Paul, because this is also my next time we will talk about investment, but I think it's a very interesting day for me. Maybe we have questions from the house. Where is the Duncan? Where is Duncan? Duncan. CEO. Where is the CEO? Duncan.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Joy. How are you?
This is Joy. Before Duncan comes, Educate can ask.
Joy is a president of Children's Center and Wellness Center. We stay put, yeah, Joy?
Yes.
You have any question, Joy? This is your fourth, huh? This is the last. You know, I'm teaching real estate in Africa. This actually is a closing ceremony, actually, you know. So all the people here get certificate.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, finish the
I have
course.
a certificate.
Yes, and plus, you know, you have 2 guests. So Joy, maybe you want to explain and share about something, Joy?
Yes, actually, it's very interesting what the speakers have shared with us today, and very informative. I just had to take a screenshot of what the other speaker was presenting about the 8 golden rules for property. And the interesting one is actually the one number 7. Always try to buy with 0 or very little. So that's amazing, because I was talking to a friend actually this morning who is wanting to buy a property, and I was telling him, and he there was a property that he wants to buy, and so there are 2, and one is very expensive, and I was wondering why is it so expensive, and the other one is quite affordable and in a good place. So I just sent him that photo that, you know, always try to buy with 0 or very little.
Yes, but
So,
not every time, Joy. This is the time.
yeah, this is the time.
Yes, so
COVID
you know,
time.
for investor, this is the time. Because, you know, if you want to be successful in investing or anything you want to do, you need to go beyond what everybody do. You see, if you know everybody going left, what you do, you're going right. Like,
Yeah.
for example, I think that no internet, for example, I don't know, no internet is probably the next big thing. You know, I don't know how we're going to do that, because Pak Nusa, imagine, yeah, if there is 7 billion people, 1 person using terabyte, how are you going to survive? Yes?
What?
Yeah.
Asking me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, well, everybody's saying there's not going to be enough storage to actually accommodate all the information.
Exactly.
If we cannot come up with a new technology for storage, yeah, the Germans are saying, and of course in their DW station, there's going to be 5 folds of information in every year to come. So, and so that's why there's a lot huge opportunity here. If you really know how to manipulate the situation, like Paul says, right? This
You
maybe
can.
eliminate your competition if you have good PR, right? If you can really bring out what people can what is good in you, yeah, and link up with other industries that can boost the image of your entity, your property, right? So it'll give you a huge advantage, right? So and then and like Paul says, sometimes just like in the animal kingdom, when you're scared, when you're against an opponent, then you try to make yourself look big, right? It's like that. That's how to start. And Paul has all the tricks in that. That's why I keep on saying maybe countries like ours really needs a better PR, because in this country we have a real local demand. Can you imagine that? Unlike Dubai, yeah, you're depending you're dependent on incoming property buyers, right? You're trying to make Dubai tries to make itself look attractive, right? To drive people, to bring people in. But in Indonesia, can you imagine? Despite having only 10 million foreign visitors, the local travelers, we have 150 million local travelers every year. Can you imagine that? That's more than all the Asian countries put together, actually, for foreign visitors. So we do have a safety net actually in our economy by taking advantage of the local market itself, and especially if we can attract start attracting foreign markets, like say Bali, having the least corona case, right? Bali having the least corona case, and before they all go bankrupt, they can take advantage of the local market, yeah. And even a number of hotels here are actually trying to find
Well, but Nusa, I will advise people to come to you, because if you can give 50 times rental.
Oh yes, that is true. That is actually a fact.
I don't want, because when you actually renting property, right? You need to deal with this, your client is not really nice sometimes. They're gonna ask you, paint this, do that. Data center, you don't need, you don't need a lot of things, and they don't talk to you. You know what I mean? Like, okay, you sit there. I'm actually going to give you like rental. Like, you know what I mean? I'm a very like small investor, but I have many people who can invest with me, in a very good deal, for example. But I think that with using data center and plus PR, I think, real estate market, it's going to be the number one investment.
It's going to really help your property. Imagine you have a distressed asset, nobody's renting, and then you invite a startup company and you tell them, hey, look, why don't you come into my building? I'll give you this much space. Yeah, I'm even willing to venture with you. Yeah, use my unit as your collateral. We set up a company, and then they can start straight away in your building and put their brand there. Imagine having 100 of them in your building. With good PR, everybody else is going to come in. That's just with taking advantage of the new startups. The better if you can invite a data center, then the startups can have their servers in the building. So
I want to ask one thing about data center.
Yes.
So when you're building a data center, you're putting the servers and everything. There's a cost. The cost is high, right?
Yes.
So, and then the data server, all the data center servers depend on one company. So for example, if the company crash,
Yes.
you have a problem.
Right.
So
What do you mean
what
the company
is your,
crash? How?
I mean,
Electricity down.
yeah, electricity
Downtime.
down.
Yeah.
So I want to know your opinion about this kind of situation. For example, like, do you know how many people are having cell phones, like smartphone in the world? Do you know how many? I forgot now. Can you remind me?
10 billion.
Billions. Indonesia has
10 billion. 10 billion.
no.
Okay,
Yeah.
so anyway,
Because okay, maybe 10
One or
because 10 because the numbers is like this. 2.5 billion is not having internet. So suppose that they don't have phone. So everybody have 2 phone. I have 3 phone. You know?
yeah. So my point is, like, not point of the question, like on the opinion. It's like, let's say if one phone has like on average 20 to 100 GB, okay, is it possible that if all these billion people share their data space for rent and make this kind of global connecting network of data with their cell phones, would that be something new or not?
That's what I'm trying to do.
Oh, that is like blockchain technology. That's the future of quantum storage, quantum computing.
That's what I'm trying to do with my
Right.
WWLC. This is World Woman Leading Change. We need to do this, but we need to have a trusted network, yeah, Pak Nusa, because we cannot share our data to stupid person outside of the planet.
Well,
Like, you know, like we need to have a very strong network base, number one, and trusted people, right, to do this.
no, you're right. I mean, like, that's why exactly. Paul, we need a new way to so the storage would be sufficient. There's not enough storage in the world. Like I said, what's this? You don't put all the information at one place. You spread them out. Like Google has data centers all over the world, so their users can access their data or information what's this close by, right? So everything multiplied by 5 at least, and no single data is ever erased actually. So it keeps on accumulating. So that's why the Germans keep on saying, if we don't find new technology for storage, then we will be out of place in no time, out of storage.
Okay.
Yeah.
We actually we have a question on the house. If this is my president from South Africa, Ambassador Debbie. It's
Yes.
Parliament. Joy, you wanted to add something more, or?
Yes, actually, I wanted to ask. I wanted to also ask something else. Now that we are talking about that, I would like to hear what the speakers will say about this idea of buying property for speculation. Because that happens here a lot here in Kenya, especially buying a property because in future they're gonna build a railway or a road or something. So I'd like to hear what is your advice about property for speculation.
Okay, we take that, Joy, and then okay, Ambassador Debbie. Ambassador Debbie is president of World Woman Leading Change in South Africa. She's actually she's advising the infrastructure forum, which is also interesting. It's a very real estate, infrastructure, technology, data center. That data center is infrastructure, yeah, Pak Nusa?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes. Okay, Ambassador Debbie.
Yes, Professor Ayla and the speakers, and also Paulius, thank you very much for the presentation that we held today. Yes, infrastructure, it's now becoming very holistic in a sense. Holistic in the sense because of the, the fiber optic, the location, because people, when they buy even the location. Where is the place, and whether you've got a fiber in the area. And I don't know, Professor Alice and Professor Ayla, you brought a gentleman from Russia who was speaking about the satellite, how the satellite plays important, it plays an important place in infrastructure, because I think satellite is also about you know, the space for connectivity and the space for security and all. I just wanted to hear from my presenters that now we don't buy for the sake of buying property, but you want to know about even the security, that security of what you are using, communicating. I've got friends in Germany. My friends in Germany, they don't use WhatsApp. They don't want WhatsApp at all, because for the purpose of security. So if ever we can get people to come and discuss whether our information that we are sharing in relation in the WhatsApp, whether there are no people tapping in that information, because some of the people out there, they don't use the WhatsApp. But the spin doctor of the PR of for this real estate, we are ready here in South Africa. We are ready, but we want really, when we sell, we should sell a package, especially with the youth bulk here in South Africa and Africa at large. Because my children, they don't want to live in the property that I'm having. And because they've got their own design, and they've got their own design, and even their aspiration. So we should build the property that is in relation to the need of the community that we are having, that is youth, because we are having youth. My children, they don't want even the furniture. They don't want the furniture that I'm having. They don't want the design, because they want their own design. And even the location, they want a different location. But the most important things that comes, they'll say, whether are we having a way of communicating and security. That is very important. I thank you.
Thank you. So I think we are like 1 minute. I just want to answer Ambassador Debbie. We are like, I have a company called Ayla Associate. Yes, we are actually putting all the best expert in the world to actually guide government, landowner, or people who owns the property, guide them to make a right decision. Yes, so I mean, this is why it is important that we have knowledge. So I can connect you to the satellite person. He's actually from Russia. So maybe in the next session we can invite him and just very easily talking. Thank you very much for one more question regarding Joy. Joy, yes, future value. Yes, we have to consider future value, but real estate is a long-term investment. It's not like I buy today and I sell today. It's not stock market. So if people think I buy property today, next year I want to sell, I want to make this, that, it means they don't understand real estate. So if you don't understand, you don't dare to invest. You only do things that you know. This is my, what you call it, I go by these rules. You know, if you don't have knowledge, then you have to find people who have the knowledge to help you. So you don't get, what you call it, like, you know, somebody don't take you for granted, for example. You know what I mean? So, okay, thank you very much. So I will, let's move again with the next next week. Thank you, Pak Nusa, and thank you, Pak Paul. So, you know, there's 2 more. We are like, we're over, like, you know, people are like, okay, we give you two questions more. Yes, Ambassador Debbie, there's 2 more people.
One of them is me, Dr. Ayla. Can you hear me?
Hello, Ambassador.
It's Mayor
Mayor,
Kamunge.
yes. Oh my God, Mayor Kamunge, yes. How are you?
I'm fine. I must apologize for being off air. I think I'm technologically challenged. Last week I missed a couple of things. I could hear you, but I was not able to talk. Today's challenge was different. Alice told you that we were on the road driving, and when I arrived, I took about 20 minutes to get parking because of a challenge in Nairobi. So I actually missed your presentation, and the gentleman with a colorful shirt, I think he's called Mr. Lenovo. I missed his presentation.
No. His name is not Mr. Lenovo. His name is actually Mr. Nusa. He owns the oldest. Yeah, he's in the data center in Indonesia. He owns like the 20 years in the business of data center. You know.
Thank you. I think it appears as Lenovo. Apologies. Unfortunately, I missed his presentation, but I got Mr. Paulius' presentation on PR, and I was actually very excited to learn about PR on investment on real estate. But I have one question for you, Dr. Ayla. Last week, I was reading some news about Kenya's real estate in the e-news, that real estate in Kenya is on its knees. That means it's dying. The person who wrote the article may not be an expert, maybe a journalist who is not conversant with real estate, but it got me thinking, why did they say that kind of statement that real estate in Kenya is on its knees? Is it because of the COVID-19? Is it because of the challenges in terms of money availability? Or is it in charge of lack of knowledge? I couldn't understand, and I didn't know what kind of questions to raise if I was in a forum that says real estate is dying in Kenya. What would you advise us to, what kind of questions should we be asking? What should we be looking for when we get statements like those?
Actually, when people say real estate is dying, for a beginner investor, they will say, okay, it's dying, so forget it, we don't come. But for the real investor, you know, I wanted to buy as much as property now. It's just that I don't have a lot of liquidity, but you know, it's the best time to buy real estate is now. The best time, because you know, it's not like anything. We don't want to be fair on anybody, but it's just that in real estate, you actually, can we see the eight rules of real estate, Amanda? In real estate, there's 8 golden rules. You don't actually have to have the money to buy real estate, yes? But you need to have the cash flow. You see? You make it when you buy. It means it has to be in the very good deal, yes? You always buy from a motivated seller. Why? Because, you know, if you buy from people that have a lot of motivation, you actually learn a lot from them, you know? It's not about the real estate. Money, land, profit is all illusion. What is real is your relationship with the people, you know? And you know, in the time of like COVID, if they like you, they come to you and they give you the best of the best deal, Mayor Kamunge.
Yes.
You know, if you have good relationship, yes. So this is what I'm saying, that you always buy from motivated seller. You have to fall in love with the estate deal, not with the estate. You know, it's like buying real estate is actually going married with somebody, you know. You have to, like, what you call it, there has to be a chemistry and compatibility, you know, it's 2 things. And you need to be in love with the person, not the looks, because, you know, the looks can change. The compatibility you need to know. And the number 4 is like, never be the first to name the figure. You know, I will sell this. number 7, seldom sell. Because real estate is long. Number 8 is the deal of a decade. It's always happening every week. Do you know, Mayor Kamunge, I actually get one of the biggest deal in my life. It's from somebody that doing a massage to me. Massage, you know?
Yes.
I have a lady that doing a massage to me, and then she was saying that because she knows I'm in the real estate. That's why it's important to tell people I am in real estate. If you know anybody want to buy, want to sell, come to me. So they come to you because they know you are in the real estate, you know. You know, I make a lot of money. You couldn't believe it. And I like to be consulting, actually. I don't like to, because developing real estate, it takes a lot of time, you know, it takes a lot of time. You make a lot of money from the development, yes, but the investing is even interesting because you don't waste the time. Okay, I have another one. But I think if you have that PR, you know, it's actually good because actually if a real investor, they came in the right time to buy. This is a buyer market.
Yes.
I can say something. It is absolutely normal that, for example, Kenya or any other country saying that real estate is going down. In Dubai, real estate is going down. Like 60% people are selling, prices like super low, and everything is just like crazy down. And this is everywhere around the world now because first of all, people got really scared now on the money. Let's say the majority of the people, okay? The average consumer who take loans and buy real estate, they're scared now because they're in this corona market and they don't have jobs, many people with jobs. So the money is down, so they don't buy. Then the foreign people cannot even come because the border is closed. So that's why everything is down. So it's very normal. So of course, the people then who have much more capital to invest, they use this opportunity to buy at a cheaper price. And eventually after 5 years or something like that, the price is going to go like big time. So it's normal.
Yes. And it's the best time to buy now. You see?
Okay, yeah, I understand. Much appreciated. Now I understand it.
Also, I can say one more thing.
Yes, this is why I need to start teaching real estate now, because I think that the price is not coming down yet. It's going to be down maybe in September. I suspect, yes. So
Right.
you know, I hope that I can get good insight because Africa, it's you know, it's the land of opportunity. They say, you know, with the gold that I say, with the diamond, you can print money. You cannot print gold.
Just one more thing, Ayla.
Yes,
Here
Mr.
is,
Paul.
for example, let's say if you are a mega big company, like multi-billion company, and you want to, let's say, for some reason you want to
the real estate deal.
For some reason you want to buy the whole Kenya's real estate, okay? For some reason, you have a good reason and you want to buy whole Kenya's real estate, and you are a multi-billion company corporation. What you do is that you do PR, doing articles like this market is down, nobody's going to buy from Kenya anymore, and then they use the opportunity to buy at cheap and to monopoly big time. So
Interesting.
Actually, Dr.
You know, I tell you what. You know, the young people, they have very interesting mind. You know, they have very interesting mind. Yes, Ambassador Debbie. Yes, actually, we are already over the time. But
last one, a president.
Yes.
Always try to buy with zero or little down. What does it mean?
Okay.
You know, 0.6 of the 8 golden rules of property.
Okay, like this.
Yes.
A lot of people think actually when you buy real estate, you need a lot of money.
Yeah.
That's wrong.
Okay. Yes.
What do you need? Ambassador Alice Kamunge, can you answer? What do you need when you buy property?
I think, can I remember what you told us that we need? I think you need to identify the property itself.
What do you need to buy property?
You need the bank to help you.
No bank will give you now.
You need the interest, the interest and the maybe network, the partnership.
You need the cash flow.
How do you get the cash flow?
Exactly. How do you get a cash flow? Yes? You need to merge with business who still have cash flow now. What is the business that still have cash flow now? Paul, maybe you can help me. You are in the PR, so you know, I'm sure you know information. For example, like what are the business? I mean, for me, I don't care what other business. It could be health, technology, whatever. They all need real estate. You are born and die, you need a land. And you cannot buy land. It's not like, you know, you cannot make land. Probably you can, but you know, for me, I'm staying with real estate because I started with $10,000. I mean, and today as I'm sitting, I'm actually, I don't say I am very successful, but I think I already fly. For people who know me, I used to be a flight attendant and I started really down, you know, like in a very low bottom. You know, I don't get things for free. And I don't like charity, you know, I like to do it my own because then you have the freedom. So I think it's important to understand the real value of the real estate. And then you add the value. Now, to understand the real value of the real estate, you need, what you call it, like a compass. Yes, you need compass to do that. And how do you add value of the real estate? This is why I bring up these two gentlemen here today. So we are closing the number 6 of the chapter that we, you know, this is the 3rd week, 4th week. Is it 4th week, Mayor Kamunge?
Yeah, 4th week.
Yeah, I hope you enjoy it, you know, because this is actually the top 2 of property is how you add value to your estate. Because, because you know, everybody can buy bad estate and turn it to gold. You think everybody can do that? No. No. You need people. This is why I want to open the school in Africa, for example, that I can, you know, I can have people that have the same vision and understand real estate the way I do, you know, because that's an ultimate wealth. You know, when I met my husband the first time, about 18 years ago, he asked me, what do you want to do in life? On the second date. So I asked him, oh, I said, I want to be rich, you know? Then he said, what are you doing now? I said, I sell shoes and bags. He said, you can sell shoes and bags, but you need to own the estate. Like Zara, like McDonald's, you know? Ortega is actually probably in 5 years like a top richest man in the world. But you know what happened? He actually buy the real estate with the cash flow. So you need to have a good cash flow. And you need to have people on your side, smart people, not somebody who come to estate for like 1 year, 2 year, 3 year. Minimum, maybe 20 years. They guide you. Okay, this is, you know, I have two mentors I have in real estate, very strong mentors, you know. One is very conservative, the other one very, what you call it, like risk taker. Jump, buy. The other one say no. So, you know, I'm in the middle, but I listen to all because you need to have, as if you want to be smart, you know, you need to listen to two types of the story. Yes. And I tell you, real estate can give you big wealth, or it can kill you. It's a silent killer. Dangerous. But the ultimate of the real estate, you know, because you can have 7 variable of income from real estate. 7. Okay, I think I close it. I still have another question. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. Mr. Paul, I know you are very busy, you know, and thank you very much, you know, for the sharing session. Where is Pak Nusa?
I'm here.
Are you there? Oh yeah, thank you very much, Pak Nusa. I hope to see you soon, yeah, for catching up. A lot of to talk, you know. I think maybe I will give you this building, the building that I live, because I have a few investment here to started playing, you know. Thank you so much, everyone. Yes, Pak Nusa.
I hope everybody can take advantage of what Paul has shared with us. I learned a lot too from Miss Ayla and Paul, and also from our industry, in how our industry can really boost your rentals, or create more demand, more attraction, more value to your property. Yeah, this combination, yeah, of PR and putting features, yeah, or businesses into your property that we hope we shared here. Yeah, thank you very much for to everybody.
Thank you, Pak Nusa. Mr. Paul, you want to add anything else?
Yeah, great talks. Thank you for invitation.
Yes.
If somebody wants to discuss something with me, I leave my email. You can just email me or WhatsApp me. My number is there also.
Yes. So you know, I met Pak Nusa and Pak Paulius actually this year, but very interesting, because I always not Google, but I wanted to know, because your success factor is not your future. It's your history, what you do. If people tell you don't do this, don't do that, but they never been there, you know what I mean? If people tell you don't do this, don't do that, but they are actually never been there. Like, you know, for example, like I asked Mr. Paul, do you ever raise capital from your PR? Because that is the proof that the PR is working. Or
Yeah.
Pak Nusa, for example, Pak Nusa, have you ever like actually comfort building, you know, because you cannot, you know, in my industry, in consultancy, you are governed by RICS compliant. It's called RICS. You cannot talk nonsense. You have to be legitimate, you know, because they can take your license. Yes, they can take your license. If you are under like a very strict company like Singapore, UK, you cannot talk nonsense, because you are actually consulting. You can make people jump to the, because jump to the what, the water, or you know, so you have to have like, you know, you have to be like correct. Thank you so much for this session, and I will share the presentation. I will share the the numbers. Next week we have even more interesting people on board, so you know, stay tuned. But it's probably gonna be 1 hour, because every Wednesday I'm quite tight. So thank you very much. Bye bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for
Thank you so much,
very
Dr.
much.
Paul. Thank you, Nusa.
Conversation.
Thank you. Thank you very much. From Africa, we do appreciate.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
What do you think of the talk, Alice?
Yes?
What do you think of the talk?
Very nice. And today it was stable. Everything was stable today.